episode of Care Sandwich. I have John Scott, who's a really cool guy, coming up as a guest. He is a CFO for law firms, and he's going to give us some great tips for law firm owners. And I don't want you to miss it. So hold on for just a minute while we play this video, and then we're going to bring John right out.
Welcome to Care Sandwich, the podcast where we dive into the success journeys of law firm owners across the country. I'm Margarita Everline, your host and the founder of Marketing Boss, a fractional chief marketing officer firm for law firms. On this show, we'll explore the challenges, strategies, and victories that have shaped law firms and how they wrap every interaction with care. Because we believe that caring isn't just a value, it's a strategy for success. So grab your favorite sandwich, sit back, and let's dig into a conversation filled with insight, inspiration, and of course, a lot of care.
Help me welcome to the stage, John. Come join me.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. I know we got to spend some time together a little while ago and we had so much fun. So I know you have lots to share. And I'm going to just kick this off with a general, hey, who are you? What do you do? How do you help law firm owners?
I am John Scott, and I have been a CPA and advisor to law firms since the early 90s. And I was very fortunate early in my career to meet a very entrepreneurial attorney who at the time had a niche practice in just a few offices in the St. Louis area. And over the 17 years that I worked with him, he grew his practice to almost every state in the US and the UK. And he did it by paying attention to data. So he would go to a new city and set up an office, and he could tell you that within 6 months, he could hire the second attorney and be profitable. So I was on his finance committee that entire time. I watched him make data-driven decisions. I watched how he managed his business, how he forecasted it. And I took that and I parlayed that into my other law firms that I work with. Now, we're a large local firm in St. Louis who gets a good majority of our referrals from attorneys. We love attorney referrals because those are good clients. They're used to paying fees. They're not tire kickers. And so when I could take those data-driven decisions and the forecasting abilities to law firms, it helps frame their business decision-making as they try and grow and scale as well.
I love that. And as a CMO, I absolutely love working with law firms that also invest in the financial services that you provide, because you're right, they're very data-driven. So that's definitely aligned with our jam. Walk us through some of the mindset patterns that you see with the attorneys that are more data-driven and excited to invest in these types of services because they see the vision.
Well, you're right. I mean, I've coached all my children in some sort of athletics, and some are coachable and some aren't. It is always the business owner's decision, but if they don't value what you do and what I do, then it's tough to bring them up and give them the information they need to make decisions to help them grow and scale. I have partners in my own world here that don't want to pay attention to dashboards. They think if they just look down and do the work that's in front of them, that good things will happen. And many times it will. But if you could be incrementally better by paying attention to the data, and let me give you an example. You start the year out and you want to set a goal of we want to grow X% and have no erosion on the bottom line. Well, you're going to know in February or March if you're on track to hit that goal. But if you don't look at it until October and you realize that you're way off the trend line, there's not enough runway yet left to get back on track. But if you pay attention to that dynamic forecast along the way and make little adjustments, you're going to achieve your goals. And I have seen business owners that wake up in October and they go, my goodness, how did this happen? We're not going to get near our goals. We knew that in the springtime, but we didn't tell the story well enough to get it to resonate, maybe because they weren't always coachable. And so they're disappointed. But when you pay attention to that along the way and you make adjustments, just like if you're in the car using the GPS to get somewhere, you go, oh, there's a road blockage up ahead. Here's a workaround. We can make those adjustments to get back on track.
I love that metaphor because as you were describing, I was almost picturing like a roller coaster with a blindfold on. But I think the metaphor of the roadblock is a little bit more palatable. Like the other one's kind of a nightmare. And yeah, you're right. I mean, if you can see where you're going and what's ahead, you can adjust. So, what are some common patterns of what you find when you first start working with a law firm that you can address within your services to help them clean things up?
One of the most common patterns are that we don't have good, clean financials, or they're 2 or 3 months behind in their reconciliations. And really, it's tough to make any business decision if you don't know what's really on the balance sheet and in your cash account. So we want to come in and stress the importance of getting a good, clean balance sheet and current. If it's the 10th of the month, I need to have closed out the prior month so that I can make decisions based on that. And then the other thing, if they don't have current financials, there's no way to forecast. And so step one is get to the current financials, and then we can build a forecast based on their revenue drivers. Now we focus on the profit focused maturity model assessment, which looks at the areas in 5 different areas of their finance function, and we, with them, self-grade their ability in those areas. And if they're rocking it in 3 of the areas but need help in 2, then that's what we focus on over the next 6 to 12 months, is getting them incrementally better in those 2 areas of the finance function so that they can be just humming along.
So, what are some simple things that a law firm owner that's listening who wants to get their financials up to date but doesn't have them up to date? What are some simple things that they can do to move in that direction? Obviously, setting up some time to talk with you or somebody like you. But before then, how can they get themselves ready?
Just hiring, even if you're going to hire internally and not outsource it, hire the right person. Don't rely on your sister's neighbor's uncle to do the accounting after work, because he's got a full-time job.
Yeah.
And that's why you're 2 or 3 months behind, because he's got something pulling his full attention and you're an afterthought. So you have to value that. Go and hire the right person that's experienced not only with your accounting software, but more importantly with your case management software, because those 2 things can talk. And the more we can automate processes, the quicker we can get to current.
Yeah, I love that. And as we're having this conversation, it's just there's so many similarities with marketing too. Like oftentimes when I start to work with a law firm, they don't even know how many views they're getting to their TV campaigns or to their billboards. Like they don't even know, they don't have a way to track it. So in my experience, it's like the first maybe 30, 60 days are spent trying to track the data and then making sure it's accurate data. Is it the same for you with the financials? Is that about how long it can take?
Yeah, usually, and we call that our onboarding period, and it takes about 8 weeks, where we dig into all of their processes. We make suggestions about process improvements. But when we come out of onboarding, we want to be ready to get the financials current and then make some changes internally and externally so that we can achieve their goals and help begin to forecast and help them get along their journey.
And what do you love the most about working with attorneys?
I love attorneys because they are very cerebral. They can box you in with words, and that kind of matches my personality. It doesn't intimidate me at all, but I like being challenged, and I like pushing back a little bit, knowing when to pull back and step away from it. But I do think they're very cerebral people who, unfortunately for them, never got, for the most part, training in accounting or finance. They really know what they do well, but they don't know how to run a set of books. There are a few that had an accounting background, but for the most part, they don't.
And this is, I think, common with a lot of business owners, but you're right. I mean, it's not necessarily part of law school, and definitely, again, can relate to the marketing space. Very, very much respect what you do because it's so empowering. I can think of so many different scenarios where law firm owners have these amazing ideas, this infrastructure to provide wonderful service, but they don't really have like a financial strategy so that they can forecast and grow or invest wisely, understand what their risk tolerance is to invest in marketing that might take a little longer, like branding, traditional media. are the things that I see in my space. What are the areas do you see where if you had a good financial foundation and the ability to forecast your growth, you can see a difference other than, making the wiser investments with your marketing?
Well, I think the biggest area is holding on to cash. Now,
Hmm.
you see a lot of law firms at year end, they distribute everything and then they live on the line of credit for a couple of months and then they chase their tail to get that paid off in the early part of the year. We like to set cash targets for not only operating cash, but for those big investments that you might have, whether it's a big marketing campaign. So the amount of cash that you need is depending on the risk of your firm, right? If I have hourly billing clients that pay by return mail, I have less risk than a PI firm that does med mal work, and those cases take a long time. So
Yeah.
we set a target for a percent of expected revenue in their cash target. And the beauty of this is it's delayed gratification. Once I hit that target and I know I have 2 to 6 months worth of cash operating expenses in the bank, the next dollar that comes in can be distributed. There's
Mm.
no borrowing on the line of credit. It's free cash flow that can go out to the ownership group. But
That's
it's
wonderful.
getting to that point that's painful.
Yeah, and you save on all that interest, and I bet you have a lot more peace of mind and
You,
feel a lot more
you certainly
stable
can
about
sleep
your
at
life.
night. And I have talked to several clients who have that same mindset. And it's exactly that reason. They don't want to borrow the money. They want to know that they can make the right investment in whether it's new technology or hiring the next attorney that comes along, that they'll have that cash and they're not doing it with the bank.
Yeah, and it's so critical, especially for law firms in those contingency, type of setups. Personal injury, workers' comp, where that fluctuation because of the way their cases work can really hurt them if they don't have that cushion.
Oh, totally agree. And John Morgan says it all the time in his ads. When he loses a case, it's my money.
Mm. I love it. So, John, what are some pieces of or some action steps that somebody can take to get a hold of you? Like if they want to learn more about how they can work with you and with your firm?
Well, I'm available on LinkedIn at John C. Scott CPA. I've also written a book with my partner, Jody Grundon, called Judicial Dollars and Cents.
I like
So
it.
you can find us both on the Anders website, anderscpa.com, and would love to talk to any attorneys about opportunities for helping them grow and scale.
Awesome. And there you have it on the screen, folks. Get a hold of John, connect with somebody from his team, and learn more about what they can do for you. They also have a really wonderful resource where you can actually take a little quiz, right? Or is it like a questionnaire quiz, like maybe
It's
within
our
a couple of minutes?
it's our maturity model assessment that will help them self-assess their maturity within their finance function and really focus on what areas need to get better.
I love it. I think I have the financial maturity of my 5-year-old. I want all the things. So I love this conversation. But in all seriousness, I think any business owner really can benefit from the work that you all do. And I think it's just lovely that you have niched down to law firms. They have a special place in our company as well. And I think that because you have niched down, you've seen everything that there is to be seen just about within the legal space. So I think that's a wonderful, wonderful asset. So if you're a law firm owner, you're listening to this and you're thinking, you know what, it's time that I have a solid financial foundation for my law firm. You know how to get in touch with John and his team. So, John, I have one more question for you. And some might say it's the most important question because this is called the Care Sandwich Podcast. And that is, what is your favorite sandwich?
Okay, so growing up, it would be peanut butter and jelly with strawberry jelly. And I do leave the crust on. But now, as I grow older and I'm trying to lose some weight, I do recognize the benefit of a turkey and Swiss sandwich. So
Okay.
kind of boring, but it gives you the protein that you need.
Any condiments? Any veggies? Or plain?
I will throw a little bit of mayonnaise on there, which is not, it's counterintuitive to my dietary argument.
It's delicious. I'm a big mayonnaise eater. I love it. So, no judgment here. Thank you so much, John, for sharing all your awesome advice and your sandwich preferences. For those of you that have tuned in, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and get a hold of John and his team for some help. And we'll see you on the next episode of Care Sandwich.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Care Sandwich. Remember, the way we care for our clients, our teams, and ourselves can make all the difference in our success. Until next time, keep caring, keep growing, and I'll see you on the next episode.